So this is our first example on payroll accounting. So if you are new here, I've given a link in the description section for the previous video. You can check and watch those ones so that you can build understanding right from there up to this point, so that we all flow with you. Right. So we are taking our first example on payroll accounting, and this is our first example. So I read. Below are the details of work done by 5 workers of Rockish & Co. for a week. Below are the details of work done by 5 workers of Rockish & Co. for a week. So these are the workers, their hours that they work, then the production unit. Alright, Angela, 40 hours, then the production unit is there. Victoria, 35, then their production is 7,000. Atiamo, 45, then production unit is what? 8,000. Then 3P is 35 hours, then 10,500 production unit. Then KB, 30 hours, then 7,500 units. Alright, so let's move on to the additional information. So additional information A is that each worker is paid 180 Ghana cedis per hour. In addition, a bonus is paid for each unit above a standard production of 8,000 units. The bonus is payable as follows. So these are how the bonuses are paid. Bonus is payable as follows. First 1,000 units. Once you get first 1,000 units, you are paid what? 3 cedis per unit. Second 1,000 units, you are paid 5 cedis per unit. Then third 1,000, you are paid what? 8 Ghana cedi per what unit. So that's the additional information A. Let's move on to B. Additional information B. It says all workers contribute 5.5% of gross earnings to social security. C. 3P and KB are members of Senior Staff Association. So 3P and KB are members of Senior Staff Association. They pay dues of 2,000 Ghana cedi per week, which should be deducted at source. Then the last information, which is D, says income tax rate is 10% what? Flat. So requirement, calculate A, the basic wage, bonus, gross earning, deduction, and then the net earnings or the take home pay, as you know. Alright, so this is our question and these are going to tackle it. So just be with us so that we move through in this question. So here in this question, we are asked to calculate basic wages, bonus, gross earnings, deduction. So here, before we can do, because we are going to calculate these items for all the employees, the 5 employees. Take note. So if you are to calculate that, then we need to have what? A table, so that we can fill each column against the requirements here, so that it can easily be done for us. So let's get onto our table so that we fill it. Right. So this is how my table will look like. You have names of employees, hours they work, rate per hour, their basic wage, bonuses, gross earnings, their SSF, taxable earnings, their tax, then their tax and senior staff dues, then total deductions, then lastly the net earnings. Okay, the net earnings. So that's what we're going to do. So we are going to use this to fill, based on the question, to fill these spaces in there so that we can easily calculate. So that's how it goes. So anytime you're given a requirement, look at the requirements and also know the item that goes into the requirement. Make sure that it's all captured on your payroll sheet. So this is what we call your payroll sheet, or the payroll voucher, or the wages sheet. Alright, as we define. So now I'm going to list the names of the employees, their hours they work, and their rate per hour. For that one, it was given in the question, so I'm going to list all. So as I'm listing, also you also do same with yours with the same format here. Then let's also move flow. So I'm listing the names of the employee, the hours they work, and the rate per hour. That one is in the question, so straight up I'm listening. Okay, so I'm doing do yours, and let's see. So these are their names as I've done mine here: Angela, Victoria, Atiamo, Tupi. Then the hours they work, which is 40, 35, 45, 35, and 30. Then the hourly rate, that's rate per hour. In the question, check the additional information. A, each worker is paid 180 per hour. So that is what I've represented here, 180 per hour. Right. So now let's move on to calculating their basic wage. So their basic wage is calculated as the number of hours that they were able to work multiplied by the hourly rate. The number of hours they work, these are the numbers, multiplied by their rate per hour. That will give us their basic wages. So let's take note of that. That will give us their basic wages. All right. So here, but you can have a situation where the question might say that, you see, in the question they were engaged in hourly work, but their hourly work will also engage in the production of units. In most instances, you might see a question where they will also give you the per unit of output in terms of cost. So anytime you have a question where you are given per unit in terms of output, and also you have an hourly rate to deal with it, then two things must come into mind, or you need to be cautious about it. Anytime you have hours and units are into play, and they will tell you that each hours, that's where the employee work is guaranteed by the minimum compared to the minimum production unit that you're able to produce. In that instance, if you have the hours and they make that statement, then you're going to work that off for the production unit in terms of basic wage, then hours in terms of the basic wage. Then the higher of the two we give to the employee. But here, that's not the case that we are actually talking about here. At times, they may give you an output and they give you the per output, which is first. Then they also give you hours that employees work and the hourly rate, which is first. So anytime you have such situation, you must calculate for the two, then always the highest, whether it's an hours or the output that is actually paid to the employee at the end of the day. But here in the question, that was not what we were actually told to do so. Actually, the question gave us only the hourly rate per hour. That's hourly rate, the hourly rate. That's per hour what we should pay to the employee. And the production units there was just, a bonus incentive to increase their rates actually they should produce. I think they made that illustration in the same A requirement. So additional information, you can check that one as well. All right, so let's move on. So with the basic wages, as I said, you just multiply the hours worked by the rate per hour. Okay, so here I'll just, if I want to know the Angela, so I will take the 40 multiplied by 180, Victoria 35 multiplied by 180, then you move on till you get the final wages answers to be filled in this column. So let's move on. So let me do the first one for you. So I have 40 multiplied by 180. I had 7,200, so I'll have 7,200 represent here. So the same goes, I have 35 multiplied by 180 for Victoria. I had 6,300. So the rest going to follow the same pattern. So fill yours as I'm filling mine. Okay. So these were my figures. So when I calculated for my figures, this is what I had for the wages. So I hope you also had the same thing. All right. So let's move on to the bonuses. But with the bonus, they made they may give us information, or they made that information clearly here that in addition, a bonus is paid. Where is it? That is A. In addition, a bonus is paid for each unit above a standard production of 8,000 watts. So this is the standard production units of 8,000. So the bonus is payable as follows. First 1,000 units is so any unit which is above the standard production, which is 8,000 units, will attract a bonus. So if you are below, you won't get any bonus. But if you are above the standard production, you get what? A bonus. And the bonus was subjected into these conditions, or these progressive units. It says that if you are above the standard, your first 100 units, if even you are above it and below this, so you are being paid 3 cedi per unit. Just multiply whatever is left and multiply by 3. But if you fit within all the 3 levels, then you pay, or you calculated it as such. So that's what we are talking about. So let's try for the first one, then you proceed to do with the second one. So if this is the case, then here, if I should take, so let's see the workers. You can clearly see that among the workers, those who earn a bonus is Angela is part, Victoria is not part, Achamo is not part, then Trippy is also part. So it's only Angela and Trippy. But KB is also 4 below, is not part of the bonus. So the bonus is going to be due with Angela and KB only. They are going to receive the bonus. So this is what you're gonna do. Let's do the calculation here. You see, Angela exceeded the standard units of 8,000 units. So here, meaning that the difference between the 8,000 units and then the 10,000 is 2,000. So if we were to be in hours, we have said that we got an overtime. So this is an overtime in terms of the units. Okay, so it's having a difference of 2,000 units. So 2,000 units. So the first 1,000 units out of these 2,000, you're going to pay Angela 3 cedis per unit. Okay, that's what you're going to pay for Angela. So straight away, I can say that my first 1,000 units, gonna be 1,000 units multiplied by 3 cedis, and whatever I'm going to get will be the answer for the first unit. So here becomes 3,000 cedis. So when you take the 1,000 from the 2,000, you are left with another 1,000. Remember, in the second condition, they said that the second 1,000 also unit is also paid 5 cedi per unit. So straight away, my second 1,000 units, so it's also going to be paid 1,000 units multiplied by 5 cedis, and then they're going to have 5,000 cedis. So the total of Angela's bonus will be, total will be equal to 3,000 plus 5,000, and then they're going to get 8,000. That will be for Angela's bonus. So the same thing going to be done for that of 3P. So we're going to use the same strategy or the same method, to engage on the 3P one. So let's see how you're gonna get your answer for that as I'm doing mine. So I'm going to fill the bonus column with 8,000 for Angela. The rest, they won't receive any bonus because they didn't able to exceed that standard production of 8,000. So let's take note of that. So this is how we calculate the bonus. So do that of the 3P's own, then let's see what you're going to get. So that whether I tally with mine or not, and let's see. All right. So I'm recording the Angie's own, which is 8,000 for bonus. So this is what I had for 3P. 3P's own here, the difference was 2,500. So I paid the first 1,000, which was 3,000, and second 1,000, which was 5,000. But here he was left with 500 units. So whatever is left, you just multiply by the third progressive rate, then you get whatever you get. Then you add the 3, then you get the total. So I had a total of 12,000 Ghana cedis, or 12,000 cedis. So that's what I'm going to be credited to 3P as his bonus. Okay, so this is what I'm going to write 12,000 here for 3P. I hope you had the same thing, right? All right, that's great. Then let's move on to the gross earnings. So as I said, the gross earnings is defined as per this illustration. Your gross earnings, so let me use shortcut. Your gross earnings is equal to, here in this case, your gross earning will be equal to your basic wages plus your bonus. This will be how your gross earning is going to earn. Per this information, your gross earning is going to be your basic wage plus what? Your bonus. So take note of this. So that's what we're going to do. You're going to add the basic wage to your bonus, and that is all. So anybody who earns bonus, you just add bonus to its basic pay. That is all. It doesn't earn bonus, meaning that its basic pay or basic wage is what is what is gross earnings at the end of the day. So that's what you're going to do. So here, if I should take Angela's own, it's 7,200 plus what? 8,000. I'm going to get what? 15,200 will be his what? Gross earning, and that is perfect. So the same is going to be done for the rest. So I'm filling mine. So pause here in the video and fill it, and let's see at the end of the day what we're going to have as I continue doing mine, and let's see the outcome. Okay, so fill yours as I'm filling mine. Right. So this is what I have after adding their basic wage and then bonus. I have 15,200 for Angela, 6,300 for Victoria, 8,100 for Atiamo, 18,300 for Trippy, then 5,400 for what? KB. That's what I had. So I hope you also had the same thing. Now, coming to the SSF, the question says that all workers, that's additional information B, all workers contribute 5.5% of their gross earnings to Social Security. Remember, I said in the theory part that in the previous video that anytime there's gross earnings, we calculated it on the gross earnings, but there are exceptions. If there is any non-taxable allowance element as part of gross earnings, then you need to calculate your SSF on what? On the basic what? Wage. But here we don't have any non-taxable, so straight away we just calculate our 5.5% on the gross earnings. That's the question what directed us to do. That is calculated on what? Gross earnings to Social Security. So straight away you just take the 5.5% calculated on the gross earnings of every employee. Whatever you get, just use to fill this space. I hope that is clear. So let me do the first example for you. 15,200 for Angela multiplied by 5.5%. 5.5%. 5.5%. I had 836 for Angela. XSF. Let's see, I'm coming. Yeah, so I had 836 for Angela. So 836 for Angela. So do the same thing for the rest. So just take, so this is what I got for my SSF. Just multiply my 5.5% on the gross earnings that I had these values. I hope you had the same, right? So let's move on to the taxable. So the taxable earnings too. The taxable earnings, this is what you're gonna do. You subtract your SSF, which we said is a statutory deduction, which is first subtracted from what? Your gross earnings, before you can arrive at your taxable earnings. So the first statutory deduction, which is subtracted from your gross earnings before you can arrive at your taxable earnings, what we call Social Security Fund. Take note. So how to get my taxable earnings is arrived by subtracting my SSF from various employees from their gross earnings. Whatever is left is my XSF. Whatever is left is my whatever is left is my taxable earnings. So let's take note of. So I'll take my SSF. For example, if I take Angela's own, I'll take 15,200 and subtract 836. Then whatever I get is all my taxable earnings. Okay, so let me do the first example. So here 15,200 subtracted from 863. I had this is what I had. I had 14,337 for Angela. So the same thing we're going to do with the rest. Just take their gross earnings, then you take SSF from it, and that will be all. So fill yours, I'm filling mine. Okay, So this is how you solve for it. Once you're able to come up with your table, just take your time and solve them one by one, column by column. Then at the end of the day, you get everything perfectly. All right. So this is my taxable earnings when I subtracted my SSF from the gross earnings of various employees. This is what I had. So with the taxable earnings, now we get to the tax. We are able to fit the taxable. So we get to the tax. Subtracted my SSF from the gross earnings of various employees. This is what I had. So with the taxable earnings, now we get to the tax. We are able to fit the taxable. So we get to the tax column. So how do you get the tax column? Remember in the question they said the tax is a flat rate of 10%. Let me show it to you. Flat rate of 10%. That's last additional information. Flat rate of income tax rate is for 10% flat. So here, once they say flat 10% income, straight away, all that you need to do, just to take your taxable earnings of each employee and then multiply by 10%. Whatever you get is the tax. That is all. That is all. So you take the 10%, you multiply by what various taxable earnings, then that will be all. So here I will take 14,337. Then multiply by our 10%, and I had 1,433.7 as the income tax for Angela. So 1,433.7 as income tax for Angela. So the same thing gonna be done for that of the rest of the employees. So the same thing going to be done for all the employees. You just work 10% on the taxable earnings of each employee, and you get what their tax. So that is all. So fill yours as I'm filling mine, okay? So this was my tax after applying 10% on the taxable, and this is what I had for my tax. So the senior staff, the question said that it was only 3P and KB who are members of what? The Senior Staff Association. They paid dues of 2,000 per week, which should be deducted as well. So every week they pay what 2,000 as part of their membership as well. Union dues, like I said, it's an internal arrangement by the employees. So if you agree, then you pay for it. So we are going to make that arrangement to in our senior staff dues column. So it's only what 3P and KB. So I'm going to record 2,000 for 3P and 2,000 for what KB. So 2,000 for 3P. Then 2,000 for what KB, and that is all. The rest they are not part. So get dash. So the total deductions here, the total deduction is both what statutory deduction and non-statutory what deduction. So you are going to add a deduction of what senior staff column, taxes column, SSF column, non-taxable earnings is not part of the deductions. The deductions comprise of in this case, the deduction comprise of the senior staff column, the tax column, and then the SS column. So I'm going to add all the columns, various what employees columns, which is senior staff, the tax, and the SSF. I'm going to get the total deductions for this what columns. That's how you get the total deduction. Just add the tax, the SSF, and then that of the senior staff column. Then you get the total deductions for the period. So after getting your total deduction, you subtract total deduction from your gross earnings, then you get your net earnings. That's what we're going to do for the last column. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's fill as I'm filling mine. So here the total deduction is what senior staff plus SSF plus what tax. So senior staff plus tax plus SSF. Then you get your total deductions for this column. So let's take note of that. All right. So there's my total deductions after adding their senior staff column, the taxes column, and the SSF column. That's what I had for Angela, Victoria, Atiamo, 3P, and what KB. That's what I had for them. So I'll subtract the total deductions from my gross what earnings, then I'll get my net earnings. So this will be my net earnings. This will be my net earnings. So let's focus here. This will be my net earnings. My net, I'll subtract my total deductions, which is this column, from the gross earnings column. Then whatever I'll get will be my net earnings for the period, or the take home pay. So just take, for example, Angela's one, I will take that of this total deduction from this gross earning. Whatever I get, it's my net earnings. So that's what you're going to do. So fill yours, I'm filling mine, okay? And let's compare and see. So this is what I had for the net earnings after subtracting my total deductions from the gross earnings. So that is that.
Oh.